Welcome to what is our third and possibly shortest video of this series. I'm not really sure, again, because I'm making this all up as I go along. So in this third phase, we are prepping our materials that are needed for the active painting. This is the final product, we hope, barring any massive failures or mistakes. And what I'm starting off with is Arch's watercolor paper, which is one of the best watercolor papers available. This is, in reality, my first real painting on this type of watercolor paper. So there is a margin for error on watercolor paper because it responds differently to the amount of water you put on and all sorts of different factors. And what I'm doing right now is putting some tape down around the edges. Some artists like to just paint on the canvas as it is. Me, I like to have a nice crisp white edge when I'm done. I think in part because if I'm going to hang this, like put a mat board around it and frame it and all that, it's nice to have a white border that I didn't depend on for my picture, and that's one of the reasons I do that. Now, this Arch's watercolor paper is a block of paper, so it's glued around the edges so that they all stay together in one form. And it's pretty neat using that because that means this taping down exercise is not entirely necessary because the paper shouldn't buckle as much as you typically see. But this is part of the artistic process that I love the most, is now I have this blank canvas right in front of me. And this blank canvas can become anything, right? We're now in the process of creating the art that I believe I want to create. So for this video, I'm doing something a little different where I've sped up the actual process of drawing, because if you remember for the other phases of this piece, I kept saying, don't worry, it'll be more detailed. Well, now's the more detailed part. It's where I have to go more slowly, and I'm trying to make sure every little piece is where I want it to be. Now, when I say every little piece, I don't mean every single piece. And the reason for that differentiation is it's a watercolor painting, and you can get great detail in watercolor painting, but that's not my goal in this particular painting. And in many of my paintings, when I come to landscapes, I don't want all the details. I want the sense of the final product. So this is the stage for me in my artistic process when I'm usually doing less self-reflecting. If there's a song going on, as I typically listen to music, I'm probably belting it out along with it as I do it. Or, as is often the case in this stage, I am just way too focused on putting things where I want them to be. I'm concentrating and looking hard at everything that I should be doing. Now, I think what I'm going to do for this video is speed this part up even more, in that we can just get through some of this initial process of laying down the artistic endeavor, which sounds pretty full of itself. So coming back on the audio, I hope you enjoyed the music. That's something new I'm experimenting with, but again, like I said, I like to listen to music while I'm doing art. And as you can tell, this picture is a lot more detailed than the things that I've worked on in the past. That lamp there right in the middle of the page, I was really enjoying how that turned out, and I thought, this is going to be a nice focal point for the whole picture in a way. It kind of brings the image from this grand building scene down into one little thing that we can all identify right in front of us. That little lamp caused me no end of problems after this. And I'm sure I'll mention it in the other painting picture and how that goes. But, at this point I'm thinking, if I was an even better sketch artist, I could see just continuing on developing this as a sketch. And maybe someday I will improve better on that. But I'm feeling very satisfied with how this is turning out. Does it look like the picture? No. But it does look like what I want it to look like. This watercolor paper is a joy to sketch on. The texture is nice. And it's just a wonderful process. So here I'm taking a kneaded eraser, and what I'm going to do is lift up some of that excess graphite. Because the paper is rough and I'm using a 4B lead pencil or graphite pencil, it puts down a lot of graphite. And once you put watercolor over that, it will kind of seal it in. So if those marks aren't light enough to either be covered up or to kind of fade back, they will be very apparent. So this is just a process of cleaning everything up, getting everything ready for that final time when I'm going to start putting down paint and having a go at the final painting. So here it is. I hope you enjoyed yourself on this video today, and just continue to look after yourself and take care of yourself right now, both spiritually and physically.